I'm going to make a statement, and you tell me if the statement has some validity or if it's completely ridiculous. A team may have an issue drafting Shedeur Sanders because they don't want to deal with the circus that is Deion Sanders.
Completely false.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why, Jimmy. Deion was a great teammate, not only a great player, one of greatest corner of all time, but a great teammate, a great worker, prepared as hard as anybody, worked as hard as anybody, practiced as hard as anybody. Players in the NFL that played with him loved him. He went to the Major League Baseball, and all the Atlanta Brave players in the organization loved him for the work. He didn't come there. He didn't bring any circus. Yeah,
but this is him as a father.
He knows you don't want to do. He knows there's none of that going on with Shedeur. Shedeur is going to be
like you hear these things about like Shedeur going to Cleveland. Now, anytime a quarterback goes to Cleveland, it's a complete disaster. And then what is Deion going to chime in and complain about the organization, the talent? That kind of thing.
I don't think Deion would do any of that. I think Deion understands the game, how it's played, why it's what you need to be successful. Shedeur is going to create his own situation wherever he goes. He doesn't need Deion. And Deion hasn't said anything about he needs to go here, there, where. We don't know where Shedeur is going to go. And Travis Hunter, we know probably going number 2 to Cleveland the way it looks right now, who's a great player. He's been number 1 on my board since August, and that never changed. Shedeur's been a number 1 quarterback since August. That's never changed. But in terms of Shedeur, great kid. You talk about NFL conditions he's dealt with. To go to your point about Deion, it's not going to be any circus atmosphere coming with that. If anything, it's going to be anything but the opposite. It's going to be professionalism, work ethic, passion for the game, love of the game, doing it all the right way. Shedeur, after I didn't care about the pro day, but what he said afterwards when he was interviewed, Jimmy, about the receivers, they're running the routes. They're the ones out there doing the work. I had to make sure that they were coming back and they weren't getting worn out. The ball, I don't have to throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. I got to make it catchable for my receivers. Travis Hunter counting players on the field when he had played both ways in a game, still be mentally focused enough and into the game enough to be counting the players. So these two guys are special for a reason. Now, great players are great kids. So no, Shedeur. You can't do anything about your size.
I'm just throwing that out. I'm just throwing that out there based on what I saw from Deion the 2 years he was at Colorado.
Right. But I think myself for Shedeur, you can't do anything about your size. He is what it is. Right. You can't do anything about your 40 time. Everybody can predict that he's never going to know what it really is, but it's not 4.6. He can't do anything about his arm. His arm will get stronger once it's in the league. It's strong enough, but arms do get stronger. Peyton Manning showed that. Tom Brady showed it. Drew Brees showed it, and others have shown it. Your arm can get stronger. Josh Allen has proven you can get more accurate. That maybe will help Jalen Milroe, right? Maybe become more accurate throwing the football once he's in the NFL. But I think those two things have been proven by Josh. Accuracy, people say you can't get more accurate. Josh said you can't get stronger. All those other quarterbacks said your arm can get stronger once you're in the league. So for Shedeur, I get it. He doesn't have the explosive arm. He doesn't have explosive legs running the ball. But what are they going to talk about, Jimmy? Decision-making, accuracy, toughness, coming through in the clutch, poise, consistency. He's got all that. So I'll go down swinging with Shedeur Sanders.
Mel Kiper Jr., draft analyst. He had Shedeur Sanders top quarterback in this draft, period. Here's what he thought of the Browns getting him in the 5th round.
Offensive line. That's critical for Shedeur. Said it when Tom Brady was taken. The offensive line's got to protect him. He's got to have that fortress in front of him, as Brady did, allowed him to have that success. You think about what he had at Colorado. He dealt with adversity. He dealt with a muddy pocket. He done it with everything NFL conditions lead you to have to deal with once you get to the pro level. Then you think about the character. I think this is the misperception. I think the fact of the matter is Deion was a great teammate. Deion practiced hard. They loved him in the NFL. They loved him with the Atlanta Braves in Major League Baseball. Shedeur, he will galvanize. He'll be that kind of guy. So again, the offensive line, if you're talking about the Cleveland Browns, that's the issue, guys. If they can protect him, obviously get the weapons, but up front is where they got to be strong. You allow him to do his job, and he will be a surgeon. He will pick you apart. I mean, you give Shedeur time. He sees the field. He's accurate to all levels, and he is a tremendous competitor, incredibly tough. So, again, durable, having all the hits he took, and never got hurt, okay? And he had never running game. Not mention offensive line. He had no running game. So he was out there, and he led them to a winning year. He led them to an upset over TCU when he first got there, first game. Then the wheels came off. That Stanford game when the second half lead was won with the half. Shedeur Sanders, to me, when you talk about the locker room and the players around him, they love him. Now, the perception from others outside, based on what there's the noise, Maybe they didn't like what they heard. I don't know how it was handled. You get all the word about this, that. You think, well, they're just trying to hurt Shedeur. Teams are still throwing it out there. You don't know what was true, what wasn't. How Deion's going to operate. Deion's going to stay out of it.
In the history of NFL draft drops, let me tell you, the Shedeur Sanders free fall might take the cake. Not a single team selecting in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft took the Colorado quarterback. The Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year and son of Deion led the FBS in completion percentage, 4th in passing yards. Just a couple months ago was in the conversation for the top pick. Heck, right before the draft started on Thursday, he was minus 600 to go in the first round, and yet he is still out there. 2 picks later, Cleveland finally came for their quarterback, going with Oregon's Dylan Gabriel, who finished a storied college career this season with the most career starts and touchdowns responsible for in FBS history. But back to Shedeur, because last night, that whole situation had Mel Kiper Jr. apoplectic.
I like to say, I think it's disgusting. I don't understand what the heck's going on with this. 5th player on my board. It's never happened before in 47 years where a player that high has dropped this far into the 4th round at quarterback. That's sitting there in round 4 with other quarterbacks being taken who aren't as good as Shedeur, aren't even close, in my opinion, in terms of accuracy, toughness. Arm strength is certainly more than good enough. I don't see, outside of not being have the rocket arm and the 4.6 speed and the big frame, the 6'3", 230-pound frame, what is he lacking? Somebody's going to have to explain that one to me. 4th round, Kirk Cousins went. 4th round, Dak Prescott went. Worked out pretty good for them. It's just that Shedeur was projected a lot higher than they were. That's why we're having this discussion.
Mike, what is your reaction to 5 quarterbacks getting drafted before Shedeur Sanders?
Ryan, I am absolutely stunned. Here's a player that started 37 games, led the nation in completion percentage. He's also incredibly tough. He was sacked 94 times over 2 seasons and only missed 1 game. He was my 2nd quarterback on the board, very similar to Mel. I thought he was a 1st-round pick that could come in and start right away because of anticipation and accuracy. I cannot believe that a team in the first 3 rounds, 102 players were drafted and didn't draft Shedeur Sanders. Ryan, one of the things you have to understand is the NFL is the ultimate meritocracy. Every team has the same amount of money. Every team has the same amount of draft choices. And not one team thought that Shedeur Sanders could help them win when 5 quarterbacks have already gone. I was part of the Miami Dolphins in 2016, and we drafted Larry Tunsil. He was the #1 guy on our board. Larry Tunsil was a great player, a great person. He obviously hit a bump in the road, and we saw it as an unexpected opportunity. Johnny Manziel came out, a lot of questions about his background. He won in the 1st round. The fact that we're sitting here talking about the 4th round is unbelievable what has happened, given the fact that this guy's been such a good player over 37 games.
And Sanders doesn't have the kind of bumps that you're mentioning with the 2 previous guys you mentioned. And not only that, I mean, in many ways, I say it again, this was a guy who was in the conversation to be the top pick not too long ago, and now here we are.
If I'm keeping score right now, this is not a good look for him in the quarterback competition. It's not a good look. And I think it says, okay, let's literally pump the brake.
If Shedeur has Jacoby Brissett's career, that is awesome. That is amazing value as a 5th-round pick, and that would be great for him. It is.
I think in my heart of hearts that this organization has seen things from Shedeur Sanders that leads them to believe that he can be their guy.
Sanders fires for the end zone.
Touchdown! Yes, sir! That's the heck of a football!
Harold Fannin. Touchdown.
Let's go! That's what I'm talking about. Put that boy on the money. I'm moving like this. What? Hey, listen. That's what I'm talking about. Put that ball on the money, big dog.
For the tie, no Shedeur.
What is this?
Supposed to pitch it, but didn't and couldn't. And now he's going to have to throw it, and he does, and it's incomplete.
Oh, no, he got to go.
I got to say, this is a crucial, pivotal, make-or-break game in Cleveland for Shedeur Sanders. If Shedeur does struggle in this game, if he gets outplayed by the 1st overall pick in his draft, although obviously he fell ridiculously to the 5th round, a fellow rookie, but if he gets outplayed by Cam Ward, I'm not going to be surprised if Deshaun Watson, we're going to talk about him in just a moment, but I won't be surprised if Deshaun starts next week or if they go back to Dylan Gabriel and that's the end of Shedeur.
And that's exactly what he did. Shedeur Sanders went out there Finished with 364 yards passing, 3 passing touchdowns, only 1 interception, a passer rating of 97.7, had 29 yards rushing, almost the leading rusher on the team, 1 rushing touchdown. He did everything and only took 2 sacks. He went out there and he did everything they said he couldn't do before the draft. And if it wasn't for Kevin Stefanski getting in the way as usual, this is a game they could have won. And so everybody's saying the exact same thing right now when it comes to Kevin Stefanski. He's got to go.
He's got to go.
The design of the play and or the execution, communication, whatever, not everyone was on the same page. And you end up with your running back throwing the ball 40 yards across the field, 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage when you need to get 2 yards to tie the game. What world, what universe am I living in?
It's the universe where...
What was that?
It's the universe where people make excuses for the head coach, and they'll continue to make the excuses because you should have been eviscerated. When you excuse them doing the same thing with tight ends and bringing them in and sneaking the ball, this is what I'm talking about. Maybe he's not sabotaging Shedeur Sanders. Maybe he's just freaking incompetent because he's 23 of 42, 365 yards, 4 total touchdowns. He thoroughly outplayed Cam Ward. He just dropped the dime in the back of the end zone, and you take the ball out of his hands to do wild dog. It's a fireable offense. There's no more to talk about.
Or Stefanski, talk about because Reese called the play.
Fine. Listen, if you're the coach, you say, what is the play call here? You know he got a headset. Timeout.
Yeah, I'm with you.
WTF?
Yeah. Which part of it? What WTF part do you want to talk about? Because
why did the Browns go for 2?
We're not sure yet. We still haven't really figured that out, have we? Makes no sense.
What the Cleveland Browns and Kevin Stefanski did to Shedeur Sanders should be under investigation. And if the owner isn't making some tough decisions come Monday or even before then, we got to start questioning some things. Because even the announcers during the game were questioning what Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns were doing.
I don't know why you wouldn't want Shedeur Sanders out there just to start that play when you need that 2-point conversion after he drove you downfield. So,
especially what he did the last time they were down there on the scramble for the touchdown, and now all of a sudden we're going to go to gadgetry and trick plays. And
Shedeur Sanders was out there doing the same thing that we all saw at Colorado. When the money's on the line, when the game's on the line, there's nobody else that you would rather have the ball. That's why Shedeur Sanders holds up his watch. It's not about the bling bling, it's about winning time. A lot of people don't realize that. When he holds up that watch, it's not about the flash, it's not about the bling, because he was born with it. He was born rich. He could give a damn about that. It's about winning. And so when the game's on the line, you gotta have it. Shedeur Sanders is that guy. And that's why most of us thought that he should have went #1 overall, or at the very least in the first round. And they robbed him of that. And look at it. Look at him now. He's still out here doing his thing, despite being sabotaged at every turn. His own head coach against him. His own head coach not giving him first team reps. His own head coach out here putting him with 3rd and 4th string offensive linemen. And so there's a lot of individuals out here right now with egg on their face. Even some people who didn't like Shedeur Sanders or weren't his biggest supporters, even they had to give it up for him.
And they took the training wheels off Shedeur for 2 of the 4 quarters today, and we saw him play real well.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, outside of the pick was bad, and it led to 7 immediate points because our defense is front runners. But without watching tape to see what he missed, he couldn't have missed much. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, he threw for 300 yards.
And 4 touchdowns.
So he had 3 passing touchdowns and rushed for a touchdown.
Yeah,
so he couldn't have left much on the field.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's hard to give like a definitive grade when you haven't watched like the all 22, the coach's view, because the TV broadcast, you miss so much. But just, I mean, he played outside of 1 pass. He was great for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, he one bad sack. Or not even a bad sack, just sacked once. A grounding penalty where there was nobody really open that maybe he could have thrown it away. Outside of that, and then we were down 2 scores with 4 minutes to go, and the dude's calm. You know, no, he's not razzled at all, and leads 2 touchdown drives in 4 minutes to give us a chance to win the game. Should be in freaking overtime right now.
Yep,
we'll get to that, but. I don't know. I thought what you saw to Shedeur today, you have to be extreme. It wasn't perfect, but you have to be like extremely optimistic about what you saw.
First rookie quarterback to win his first ever start in Cleveland Browns history since 1995, since we came back and everything. So that was the Raiders game. Today, first rookie quarterback to throw for 300 yards.
Yeah.
He had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Three passing and 1 rushing. He showed what he can do on the ground too today.
Happy for him, for the Cleveland Browns, and obviously the defense. Myles Garrett's ready to set the NFL record. They couldn't block him. There's 3 things you talk about, in baseball. What did they say at Bull Durham? You remember, Granny. What do you throw the ball? Yeah, hit the ball, you catch the ball and all that. And in football, it's really very simple, right? It's BTC, blocking, tackling, and concentration. That's what I say, blocking, tackling, and concentration. And to me, when you think about this game, they couldn't block him. You can't beat him if you can't block him. But in terms of Shedeur, the operations for a young quarterback, when you see quarterbacks running up, clapping, and then the time's ticking down, and you got to delay a game, or you got to take a timeout, or you end up the game with 1 timeout left or no timeouts left because the operations weren't good. And he looks a little confused out there. He looks like a deer in headlights. I never saw that. I didn't see it against Baltimore when he was getting hit the whole second half. So I think the poise, the confidence, by playing in a lot of games in college, both at Jackson State and at Colorado, has helped him. And certainly, I think when you think about the plays that he made down the field, we talk about accuracy with him. That was the thing with him. He's so accurate. He can be a surgeon. If you just give him a fortress in front of him, give him some time, he can be a surgeon. And some of the throws he made, and he only had the 1 sack where he almost got it back to the line of scrimmage. It wasn't an 8, 9, 10-yard loss. It was, 2 yards, and he almost got it back to the line of scrimmage. He got the ball out. He showed touch. When he had to let it rip, he did. He had the 1 bad throw when the linebacker sunk in the hook zone, and he picked it off. Okay, that happens. Baker had a bad pick against the Bills and turned that game a couple weeks ago. It all happens. They're going to learn from mistakes. In order to get better, you got to make mistakes. And you learn from those mistakes, and he'll keep making them. And he's going to have uneven performances. He'll have some good, bad, and ugly. That's just the nature of being a rookie quarterback in this league who never played with the ones, right? But I think for Shedeur, I feel good because everything I see with him, he looked like an NFL starting quarterback. And that's the most important thing you can say about a rookie in this league.
First of all, I'm proud of you, Mel. I'm proud. That was fairly level-headed. I thought that might be a little more dramatic from you.
No. I'm never one to. I don't do victory laps.
Okay.
I don't do victory lap for 1 game because I go back. I go, hey, who had the best debut ever in the history of rookie quarterbers? Will Levis did.
Oh, I think
remember the 4 touchdown passes.
Wasn't it Marcus Mariota as well? Yeah.
No, again, and then you have just things happen, organization and whatever. We don't get into that, but I never go into anything overconfident. Where it's a game, my high school Calvert Hall when we were winning championship, I didn't go in any of those games like, oh, we're going to win this game, or I go in nervous about every game and about every player I like. I will never. Josh Allen, same way. Never going to ever do. Never will you ever see me do a victory lap. I always consider myself, and Green knows this, I consider myself a defense attorney for a lot of young players who are unfairly criticized. So I always tell Green out in drafting, it's like, that's what you feel like, a defense attorney, because you get all this craziness thrust upon these players, and a lot of it's just complete BS. The last thing on this, the defense was playing great, and they didn't have to ask him to do that much. I mean, they didn't have to. Just don't turn it over. He had the 1 turnover that resulted in 3 points. That's it. But they're not going to score. They can't get anything. Once we got 14 points on the board, they're not getting the 14. So I think they knew that as well. But I think when you look at the Jerry Jeudy play, he makes the throw to Jerry Jeudy. Now Jerry Jeudy's doing whatever he was doing. He ends up fumbling the ball away. That could have resulted in more points. So that would have been a drive that could have gone down and maybe gotten another touchdown. So I think they did what they needed to do. He did what he needed to do. That's all you can do as a young quarterback, win the game. And he won his game. Something hasn't been happening. That's what he said. So we'll move on. Like I said, there's going to be uneven performances. We'll see how they handle whole Dylan Gabriel coming back from the concussion, how they work that out the rest of the year. And to the point about these young quarterbacks, is always the next best thing. What they have to see internally is, and I'm not talking about Dylan, I think it's Shedeur. Shedeur is the one that, like I say, looks like a successful NFL starting quarterback with more time and more experience coming in.
I learn what I like. I learn what I don't like. I learn what I'm seeing. I know what I see well. I know what I don't see well. And I learn a lot mentally, and I learn a lot emotionally, physically, everything. I think mentally it was how to deal with when things are going your way, when things aren't going your way, when how to deal with feelings. So that's what I feel like this year is about. I think it was one of those years that how you going to deal with the feelings. You could be not playing and feel some type of way, and you could be playing and feel the same way as if you didn't, as how you were when you weren't playing. So it's kind of like you got to create your own reality and everything, and you got to have the nucleus of people around to be able, and it's not just your family, like it got to be outside. So I think that's what this rookie class and that's what everything is like being able to lean on each other when everything's down, being able for them to come to me and say, nah, that ain't you, bro. Like, you tripping right now. Like, you got to get back to doing you. Like, that's what I need. You know, I need positivity. I need those type of stuff speaking into you, speaking life into you. Then you go out there and you get back to playing normal. You get back to seeing the game how you see. So a lot of that stuff is like mental stuff. You know, it's not physical. The physical has been the same. You know, like, of course you're going to be able to improve this off season or footwork, seeing stuff quicker and everything like that. But I think the biggest lesson of this year was mentally, and I feel like I achieved that and I won that.